If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. The Regime is an American political satire television miniseries from HBO starring Kate Winslet, Matthias Schoenaerts, Guillaume Gallienne, Andrea Riseborough, Plimpton, and Hugh Grant. Tracy is a writer and executive producer on the series, with Frears and Jessica Hobbs directing episodes and executive producing. In the show, Winslet plays Elena Vernham, a dictator ruling precariously over a fictional Central European country. The Regime premiered on March 3, 2024, with all 6 episodes debuting in the US on HBO and Max. In the UK, it exclusively premiered on Sky Atlantic and now launching on the 8th of April 2024. Though the miniseries received mixed reviews, Kate Winslet's performance has been singled out for praise from critics. The series depicts a year within the palace of a crumbling authoritarian regime. After not leaving the palace for quite some time, Chancellor Elena Vernham becomes increasingly paranoid and unstable and turns to a volatile soldier, Herbert Zubak, as an unlikely confidant. As Zubak's influence over the Chancellor grows, Elena's attempt to expand her power eventually results in the palace and the country fracturing around her. The project was announced by HBO in July 2022, with Tracy serving as the showrunner, with Frears directing and Kate Winslet, Frank Rich and Tracey Seaward acting as executive producers, with Kate Winslet in the lead. This miniseries now marks Winslet's 3rd lead role in an HBO drama series after Mildred Pierce and Mayor of Easttown. In April 2023, the title of the project was officially revealed to have changed from the working title, The Palace, to The Regime. Filming in Austria took place in January of 2023 at the Schönbrunn Palace and at the Liechtenstein Garden Palace, part of the Liechtenstein Museum on the Forstengasse in the 9th district of Vienna. A first-look image released in February 2023 showed Winslet filming on set in Austria, with principal photography also taking place in the United Kingdom at Wentworth Woodhouse near Rotherham in South Yorkshire. Some interesting trivia notes. Kate Winslet said of the outrageously dark and twisted spoof, "I have never read a script like it. I'd never come across a character quite like her, and I knew that this role was for me. I'd never played anything like her before, and I wanted to do comedy. I love the fact that yes, it's about a dictator, but she's also a female dictator, and I knew the nuances and the feminine fragility that I could explore behind that mask." Winslet also worked with a neuroscientist and psychotherapist to try to understand trauma a bit better and how it can manifest itself in people's bodies and lives, and how they can move and how they speak. Winslet would say, "I wanted to make sure that I was rooting her in some kind of reality. It's really looking at her childhood, where the trauma began, and how it has stayed with her, and how it absolutely impacts every single one of her close personal relationships." The toxic orbit surrounding Elena fueled Winslet's performance and allowed her to question what could make a damaged person turn so deadly that an entire country would bend to her every whim. Winslet added, "It's her sense of entitlement and the abandonment issues that she clearly has. It's a fear of the outside world, how she speaks, and the things that she subsequently feels she has to keep hidden as a leader because she's got to be beautiful and everyone has to love her all the time. She just gets it all wrong. It's really kind of tragic, and that's where my empathy kicks in." Winslet also recalled intense feelings of insecurity when she first began to envision the show. The walls of text required her to perform as a public figure, particularly one who gives many scripted speeches, but also she had to go through an array of different types of emotions. Showrunner Tracy pitched the show as Downton Abbey, but in an autocrat's palace. One of the inspirations for the character, Chancellor Elena Vernham, may have been Ukrainian politician Yulia Tymoshenko, who served as a prime minister twice in the 2000s. Tymoshenko is known for her skills as a public speaker and for her strategic embrace of traditional dress at public appearances. Many of Elena's hairstyles resemble the traditional Ukrainian plaited hair that Tymoshenko had worn during her photo ops. Winslet, though, revealed she didn't look to any specific figures for inspiration because she didn't think that it would be a sensible choice. She would also describe Vernham's cruel strangeness as a tricky balancing act between profound character misunderstanding and a face value entertainment. Although Winslet did state that there was no specific figures of inspiration for the role, the resemblance of her voice and speech mannerisms are quite close to that of Queen Elizabeth II, putting yet another layer of reflection into the social commentary of the show. This is the second collaboration between Kate Winslet and Hugh Grant, following Sense and Sensibility, released in 1995. It is also the second collaboration between Winslet and Schoenaerts, previously who played love interests in a movie called A Little Chaos, released in 2014, directed by the late Alan Rickman. The opening credits actually reveal the series finale. That being the country's flag is initially depicted flying, then gradually deteriorates to the point where it falls apart, and then suddenly reappears as brand new. As does Kate Winslet's character, gradually losing power to the point where she is overthrown, and then suddenly comes back into power. Now, I found this to be a strikingly funny, yet truly observant, cynical and critical show of course, many of the political dictatorships that we see in the world today, past and present. It's a magnificent performance here from Kate Winslet, who shows why she is one of the finest actresses going around today, as she delivers a biting, cutthroat performance here as Elena Vernham, the Chancellor and of course dictator of the small Central European country, which of course is never named within the show. She of course is meant to resemble many of the dictators of the past, Joseph Stalin, Saddam Hussein, or even current dictators in today's world, namely Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Of course, clever aspect of this show is there's now a woman leading the charge rather than a man. And Winslet delivers this performance with such panache, credibility, as she makes Elena so dislikable, so apparently insane, so arrogant and unaccountable, yet so charming and likable in one breath as well, as you can see why so many people could fall for her. Winslet delivers the performance with a sort of sexy undertone. From one breath to the next, you can't take your eyes off of her, as she's so captivating and moving, yet so incredibly hateful and anger-inspiring. For me, this is a political satire at its best. It makes such bold statements, and certainly won't be a show for everyone. It's incredibly political, not pulling any punches, crossing over political divides and lines that some might feel stepping on one's toes. But that's what I liked about the show. It's bold, it's risque, and it's unapologetic. It's making a statement, backed by fantastic performances here from the likes, of course, of Andrea Riseborough, a stunning little performance here from Henry Goodman, and even a little cameo from Hugh Grant. It really is a show that doesn't hold back on its punches. Matthias Schoenaerts delivers an excellent performance here as Herbert Zubank. He's a recently disgraced soldier, appointed as Elena's personal water diviner, who quickly becomes her most trusted advisor and later lover. He's incredibly frustrating, makes you so angry, yet you cannot take your eyes off this incredibly intense performance as he brings this man, who's battling of course with his own deep dark thoughts and absolute lust and passion for his leader, to life with absolute perfection. He basically represents the everyday man who can't help but follow their leader all the way to death. This show speaks about the cult of personality, why people are drawn to these particular types, how in many ways people are just sheep being led to the slaughter, all in favor of one person's dream and vision, as they almost take on like a godlike, complex role. The show's been met with bemusement from other critics, but I've found it hilarious, bold, unapologetic, tongue-in-cheek, yet also making some strong and very weighted comments. Also, the backdrop is absolutely stunning, and the show subtly and cleverly speaks about this country as if it could be anywhere in the world, with barbed and jagged digs. And with its brilliant, outstanding performance here from Kate Winslet, who once again shows her range as one of the best actresses going around today, The Regime may be misunderstood by many, but it's certainly a show that appealed to me. The Regime gets a 9 out of 10.